Hi, this is Brennan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and the topic today is music or no music. And I'm talking about music when you're either writing, when you're working on a project, when you're preparing for a game. This is really more for gamers than anything else, but if you're making a dungeon or whatever, or if you're playing, do you use music or do you not use music? And I've sort of gone back and forth over the years. And again, I apologize. It's 4th of July weekend, so fireworks will be going off randomly in the background. When I first started, I was a musician, and so I was super into incorporating music into my games. I loved bringing soundtracks into the games. I loved preparing two soundtracks or two classical music or two whatever just could kind of evoke some sort of mood for me. And when I began writing, I like to write to music. But I noticed that in most of those cases, it was negatively impacting the overall quality of my performance, whether it was as a GM, as a writer, whatever. It just for me, it doesn't work. I get too distracted by the music. So if there's music on in the background, I start listening to the melodies, and I don't pay as much attention to being focused on writing something. And so I found that I make a lot more mistakes and a lot more typos if there's music on in the background when I'm writing. If I'm GMing, it's just harder for me to focus on what's going on with the group. If I'm preparing for a game, unless it's something really where I can kind of go on autopilot, like I'm shading in a map or something, or I'm even maybe kind of sketching out a dungeon, stuff like that, the music might help. If it's anything more involved than that, though, music will just distract me. And so I would challenge anybody who thinks music is a good fuel for their creative efforts to at least try doing it without music and compare the results. I'm not saying it's going to be the case for you. I think that everybody's different here, but a lot of times when I encounter people who make frequent errors or whatever, music seems to be a factor. And I think listening to music while you're doing something can be very distracting and can make you more error prone. So again, the stakes are pretty low if you're just preparing for a game. If you get the goblins' hit points wrong, it's not the end of the world. But if you're writing a proposal for your job, listening to music, may have a bigger risk to it. So, and again, I say this as somebody who loves music. I really love music, but I've sort of gotten to a point now where I will, if I'm going to listen to music, that's what I do. The only time that I will put music on in the background is if I'm working out or something. But other than that, I try to, I'll listen to music the same way I'll watch a movie or the same way I'll read a book. I'm going to sit there, I'm going to listen to it. And I find that takes my brain off autopilot a lot, which is where it tends to go if I'm trying to do something while I'm listening to music. I'm even driving in the car. I've found that turning the radio off, number one, makes you a better driver, but number two, you think more. Because you spend a lot, when you're driving, you're stuck in the car for however long it is you're on your ride, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, 40. But however long you're in there, if the radio's on, you don't have to think. Maybe if you have the news on or something, you might sort of be thinking, but I think you're having the radio do the thinking for you. And I found when you turn it off, not only are you more focused on driving, but you're more focused on your own thoughts too, and you kind of have to contend with them more because it's so easy to spend your whole day distracted by various things. So being in the car is maybe that one time where if the radio's off, you would actually have to kind of just sit there and think. And it really is I get some of my best ideas now when I'm driving because of that. So again, I'm a very big fan of music. I've always played an instrument. I've always really been into different styles of music, particularly metal and things like that. But I think that sometimes it feels like a fuel when it really isn't, when it's really more of a distraction. So again, I mean, sometimes there's a time and a place for it for me, but I've sort of come down now on the side of I would rather prepare in silence. I'd rather write in silence. I'd rather game in silence, at least in terms of music. The only exception to that is if the players go into like a venue where there's music actually playing, like so they go to a disco, then I wouldn't mind putting on some music because it's kind of the distraction level that we're experiencing is also the same distraction level the characters are maybe experiencing. But that aside, I just don't do the atmospheric soundtracks anymore, and I don't do background music while I'm writing or any other kind of creative aspect of working on these projects. And again, I think it's really helped me. And I'll still use music creatively when I listen to music. It'll still inspire me. It's just that I will be more focused on listening to the music itself when I do. So those are my thoughts. And again, I apologize if I am a little sleepy right now. It's again, it's 4th of July weekend, and I did not get much sleep last night, so I'm probably going to go to bed soon. But that was those are my thoughts on music or no music. And again, that's just for me. I'm not saying anybody else should do it. The most I'm saying is, if you think music helps you, test that theory and see if you can examine the results, because that's what I did, and I was surprised to see that my that music seemed to distract me a lot more than it helped me, and so that's why I decided to turn it down. So you might find something different, but I'm very curious if anybody's had a similar experience, or if they've had the opposite experience, or if they if they think I'm wrong, or whatever, let me know. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are in the comments, and I will probably be back online and during the week with some reviews. I'm hoping to review Web of Death, which is a really fun movie, and I don't know. We'll see what I'm going to be doing during the week. I'm going to probably put up a couple more gaming videos too. So, all right, I will talk to you later.